Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thanks to the committee and the members, and especially the clerks, for having us. My name is Aaron Binder. I'm a director at the Better Way Alliance, and I also own two small businesses that employ 15 people. One of them is Go Tours Canada. We're a Toronto-based tour company, and the other is Segway of Ontario. We're a retailer of electric scooters, bicycles, and other micro-mobility devices.
I'm Liliana Camacho. I'm the other director at the Better Way Alliance.
So just to give you the rundown, some of you might not be familiar with us. The BWA is Canada's ethical employer network. Our growing membership represents businesses creating great local jobs with paid sick days, good wages, and stable scheduling. Our members often win recognition for the quality of their jobs and the other benefits that they offer their communities. Many of them are small and medium-sized businesses, and they span all sectors, including hospitality, manufacturing, food service, construction, and everything else. And what I love is that every day, BWA businesses are showing that it's profitable for businesses, communities, and employees to have paid sick days. Everyone on this committee and everyone presenting today wants small businesses to thrive. Like, that's not the question here. We want to make these jobs good jobs. We want to create good jobs. And that's why BWA businesses succeed, is because they offer these benefits. And we know that the New Brunswick economic and business community will succeed too because of paid sick days.
The Better Way Alliance, Aaron and I are responsible for researching and pursuing forward-looking policy recommendations that benefit businesses and the community. In white-collar and bureaucratic professions, paid sick days are a given. So our focus is on the types of jobs that many Canadians have in manufacturing, restaurants, and other frontline industries. Making paid sick days available to workers in every sector will help unlock the economic potential of our economy. In the last couple of weeks, we've spoken to dozens of business owners on the topic of paid sick days, and we've combed through data from the US and Canada to understand its effects on business performance. Overwhelmingly, both anecdotal and numerical evidence show that paid sick days creates real financial returns and are good for businesses. For example, business owners avoid lost productivity from workers who underperform because they came to work sick. They can avoid the domino effect of one worker infecting the rest of their staff and trying to run their shop with a skeleton crew. Secondly, employees stay longer with employers when they feel healthy, respected, and trusted. Tenured employees have more expertise and can deliver better customer service, which means more revenue. And finally, it keeps businesses' doors open because they're not losing all their staff to illness. When COVID-19 hit, one BWA member that employs 400 staff made 14 paid sick days available to staff who fell ill. That company was able to operate the production line the whole time, which means their workers kept their paychecks and the company kept making money. In comparison, many of their peers had to temporarily shut down. A common misconception we hear again and again is that paid sick days are too costly for businesses. Businesses in our network that were previously worried about cost came back to us after starting their programs and mentioned the sales and retention benefits made their paid sick day programs a great investment. Over the course of a year, it's actually a small increase in human capital investments, and it's one that brings a return. In San Francisco, 6 out of 7 businesses reported no adverse effects on profitability after legislating paid sick days. And in New York, 85% of businesses reported no increase to their costs and no need to adjust prices, wages, or hours worked. The data also shows that paid sick days creates financial returns. In a study of US-based publicly traded companies, average revenue increased by almost 7% per full-time equivalent employee after starting paid sick days programs. Earlier this week, I was speaking to a business owner in our network who owns a bakery. She said that we need to challenge the idea of paid sick days as a cost or an expense. Employees are actually an asset because an asset is what makes us money. Without our employees, we wouldn't be able to operate our businesses. Not only that, long-term employees are irreplaceable assets. They make us the most money, provide the best service, and make the best management decisions. Their health and safety is fundamental to their ability to work. So it's disingenuous to categorize human resources in the same way we categorize flour or cooking oil.
So I am a business owner, and one of the questions I often get asked by business owners that don't have paid sick days is, don't people abuse the paid sick days at your business? I can say that's a hard no. Since my business adopted 5 paid sick days per employee, we've seen a yearly uptake rate of less than half the days, meaning out of the 75 days we have available, only 30 were used. And that's pretty average for most years. The nice thing is this yearly $4,500 or so investment helped us avoid a shutdown in March 2022 that would have cost us $3,500 a day in sales at our retail store. We were actually curious about why people weren't taking more days, like why they weren't maxing out their days. So we actually asked our team. And in almost every instance, the response was that they didn't want to take more days off than they needed because they didn't want to let down their team. They didn't want to let down their teammates. I think that's so important here. And it is businesses like mine that invest in our people as our greatest asset, because when we do that, we don't have to worry about our employees abusing those paid sick days because they actually love their jobs. They want to show up to work because they like it. The data also shows similar results to my business, and that is workers don't abuse paid sick days. Some of that other data from San Francisco indicates that workers only used an average of 3 paid sick days, and about a quarter of those workers used 0. And in New York, after paid sick days were brought into law there, a survey of employers found that 98% reported no known cause of abuse. And, you know, this is something I take personally. We've had a business for almost 20 years, and we've done very well with it, with both of them. And when I hear from business owners talking about workers abusing paid sick days, that being a major concern for them, it really indicates to me that maybe it's the business owner and not the sick days that we need to worry about. People that view their staff as lazy, expendable costs, I don't really trust them to make decisions on this, and I don't really trust their opinions on this either, to be completely blunt.
So we're pleased to see that some temporary support for small businesses is being suggested in Bill 27. In reality, some businesses do need the support to transition to a new employee system. Temporary supports can help businesses build confidence and feel more secure, especially the small businesses that are still trying to rebuild. But we're confident that once employers set up their paid sick days programs, government support won't be needed in the long run. The bill as it is written, with government support eventually ending, is the right approach. It's also worth underlining that any government support should be differentiated between small and large businesses, because so many small businesses are still struggling after the pandemic, while many large corporations are posting big profits. Government supports need to take this into consideration and help those that need it the most.
Just to back that up, we do believe Bill 27 is a move in the right direction. It contributes to a regulatory environment that does support businesses who are taking the lead on creating high-quality jobs. Without legislated paid sick days, small businesses are being forced to compete with corporations that do cut corners on employment standards, and they can afford to have high turnover until employees in the area run out. The record profits do allow them to act as if the workforce is disposable and easily replaceable, and we know that isn't necessarily the case anymore. So these aren't the good jobs we all want created in New Brunswick and Canada. The jobs that BWA businesses are making are the kinds that people want to stay in and create benefits for the economic community. We do believe that legislating paid sick days in New Brunswick is a good move toward creating a better and healthier small business community, and it's important for good jobs. I do want to mention, on the topic of good jobs, 2 of our members did actually reach out to us and mentioned they wanted to provide a couple of quotes to the committee. So one of them is Chris Neal. He's one of the founders of Neal Brothers Foods, and they actually just merged with a company called John Luca, effectively doubling their workforce. And this is what Chris said. He said, "Like my employees, I'm human as well. I've had my share of injuries, illnesses, and family situations where I've had to step away from the business for periods of time over the years. And I continue to draw a salary. Why would I treat my team members any differently?" I think that, you know, that really says a lot. The second quote is short. I love it. And I think it's perfect. It's from Brandon Day. He co-founded Community Builders Construction. They're a residential home builder. And it's simple. stay home, get better. Let's not get the whole crew sick or we lose money.
In closing, we'd like to thank Mr. Chair, members of this committee, and members of the audience. We really appreciate the opportunity to share the perspective of business owners in our network with you today. We want to leave you with a reminder that paid sick day abuse and costs are non-issues for businesses who have implemented these programs. Employment in New York City, Seattle, and San Francisco actually grew in the 2 years following implementation of paid sick leave. And even in New Brunswick, a recently released survey by the CFIB showed that more than half of businesses support paid sick days. We believe the support would likely grow once concerns about implementation and transitioning into this new policy are overcome. We can look to New York City for evidence where a year and a half after their paid sick days law took effect, 86% of businesses surveyed indicated approval for the measure.
I love that stat. And, you know, I love it because we all want New Brunswick businesses to thrive, especially after so many are hurting after the last few years. I can attest to that as a tour company owner. What I want to say is if you're in business and you have a plan for an equipment breakdown, but not an employee health breakdown, you're not planning your business for long-term success. I invest that $4,500 or so a year in my business, so we're prepared and we have a plan for when our people's health breaks down. It's going to happen. The results show in the way my employees come back to work refreshed and more productive. Later on, you're going to hear from some folks that will tell you paid sick days are simply too expensive. While all of us speaking at this committee today want Canadian businesses to succeed, that is true. We know as the BWA that economic success comes from making sure every job is a good job. And we hope that's a legacy this government wants to leave with New Brunswickers for generations to come. And we're happy to answer any questions.